Hi everybody, welcome back to another crafting class with me, Aviva, your art director from the Asner Family Center. Today we're going to be making something so fun. I know I say that every week. Art is just fun. I know, we get it, Aviva. But this one's fun. I think this one's super simple and a great way of practicing tracing and a great way of practicing to draw in general if, drawing is a little trickier for you. So, we are going to be needing a few different things today, but first I'm going to be telling you what we're doing, right? I haven't even said it. We are going to be making glass art. So art that is not going onto paper, not going onto canvas, but going straight onto the glass. I know this looks like I've kind of painted it onto this blue behind my Totoro and his friends here, but in actuality, I actually only painted onto the glass, and that's what gives it that clean, beautiful look that I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment, okay? So, you are going to be needing a few things for today's project. So, you are going to be starting off with needing a frame of any type, any sort, any size is fine. You are going to be needing a frame. So, a frame with either a glass, little front or a plastic front. Anything that's clear. Obviously that's what a frame is. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anything with a nice clear frame. So it can't be a glassless or a plasticless frame. Okay, you understand what I'm talking about. A frame. You're going to be needing a printout of whatever you want your picture to be. Or you could just throw this idea out the window and make your own idea, okay? You just want to make sure that you have something to base off your picture. Even if you are going from your head, I always think it's great to have reference photos of whatever you're making, just so you can get another idea of just what it looks like in real life, just so in case your mind kind of goes somewhere else, it's good to kind of have something to look at as a reference. Anyways, okay, you are going to be needing acrylic paint. Just like in our past videos, acrylic paint is great if you're wanting a nice, smooth, opaque, not so see-through or streaky kind of look. Because since we are painting on glass, if you don't add those layers, it's going to look streaky and see-through. So, acrylic paint, the utensils that you'll need usually with acrylic paint, water and paintbrush, and then finally some tape to make sure everything stays put, a marker. So this specific marker is a black Sharpie paint pen. I personally like paint pens more for this than a regular Sharpie because I think it dries a little faster and it's a little bit more smooth and less streaky, Sometimes when you draw with a Sharpie, it's a little bit see-through, and we want to make sure that it's super strong when it comes to our dark colors that we're putting down. And finally, I have it in a spray bottle, but you are going to need either some rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer, anything that has alcohol in it that'll help you remove any mistakes that you don't want on your glass. So I'm sure everyone has that hand sanitizer in their house nowadays, so go grab some of that and a paper towel, and that's all you're gonna need. All right, so we're gonna get started, and the first thing that you're gonna need in this project is your printout and some tape. So let's just start there, okay? So clean your table off, roll your sleeves up, and let's get started. Here is my printout. If you guys have seen the movie, or if you just know me in general, you know that I love Totoro. I think he's one of my favorite characters from Studio Ghibli, and he is just so adorable. I want him as a friend, as a pet, as just someone to be my bed at night. He's so cute and cozy. But you are going to be taking your printout of whatever you're going to be using, or if you're not using a printout at all, you could just hang out with us and listen along until we get to the painting part. But if you are using a printout, we are going to be taping it to the table so it doesn't move around at all. I think you only need 2 pieces for the sides. It's pretty sturdy. So you want to make sure that it's nice and straight though. So let me just make sure that I move it just a little bit. Just want to make sure it's nice and straight. You don't want it finish off your painting on your glass and then realize it's diagonal. Okay, nice and straight, nice and smooth. And I just want to prompt with saying that this is not my art. I did not create this design. This is from somebody online. I wish I had their name so I could shout them out. But I actually do not have their name today, but that's okay. Hopefully they see this and let us know who painted this or drew this or whatever. So now that we've got our design, we are going to be taking our glass. So if you have a helper or a friend, family member, come and help you with this piece of glass or plastic, whatever is the cover of your frame. So now that I have the glass, hopefully you can see it. You're going to place it right on top of your printout. Make sure it's nice and centered. And you can see that this will probably be the same with your printout. Some parts are kind of cut off on the printout, and I'll show you what to do when we get to that point. So we are going to be taking some more tape because we don't want our glass to move either. I know it, even if it moves a little bit, you know, it could kind of change the way that our tracing goes. So I'm just taping the sides in the same spot that I taped the other one. And just like that. And now, nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. And so what we're going to do to start off our glass art here is we're going to be taking our Sharpie marker and tracing all of the lines in our painting today, okay? So that's going to be all the outlines. You don't want to forget the eyes, the whiskers, the nose, the ears, whatever you're making. Make sure you get all those dark lines. And you can see here where it cuts off, so you have a nice smooth line. You want to just continue that line down just to make it one nice continual line. So I'm starting with the tummy here, and you can see that I'm kind of going a little bit further down, and I'm going to do the same thing with his body here. So I'm going to start a little bit lower and bring it back up to the top. All right. And so I'm just kind of making these lines where these imaginary lines would be, okay? So I'm going to do all the lines for our beautiful Totoro and his two buddies here. And then we will start our next little step. Right, and as I'm drawing this, I want you guys to know that if a mistake happens and you don't really like the way that it looks, you can see that my head is a little bit bumpy right there. You can take a little bit of your rubbing alcohol and put a little bit on a paper towel or your hand sanitizer and just kind of wipe away that little bit there. Should come away pretty smooth. And then just fix your line however you'd like. Just like that. So now it looks a little bit more smooth. Just kind of wipe away with your finger those little streaks and keep going. Okay, so now that I have made all of the outlines for my Totoro and friends, we are going to let it dry just a little bit. It usually, if you are using a paint marker like me, it should be dry already. You just want to wait for spots like the nose and other places that you have made like fully dark marks on. So if you fully filled it in black in those black areas, you want to make sure you wait a little bit, make sure that they're dry fully, because you don't want that black marker to smudge into your paint. But now I want you to think about, because right now we're going to be adding the paint, I want you to understand that when we flip our painting over, what we'll see first is the marker. So our first layer is marker, and then we're putting the paint on top. So that means that the way that you put the paint on here, if it overlaps a little bit with the black, it's not a big deal, because when we flip it over, you'll be able to see that black first before the paint, and it'll be kind of covering over. So you'll see what I mean when we start painting. So that means that we really don't have to make it super perfect. You just want to make sure that it's layered on and nice and smooth. Okay, so I've got my paint colors ready to go, my water cup, and my paint brushes. I suggest if you're doing a kind of similar painting like this, you want to make sure you have a nice big brush and a nice skinny brush for those small little spots. So I'm starting with my biggest colors first. I think that's the easiest way of going. And so that's going to be the gray of my Totoro, the blue of his buddy, and then we'll go in with all of our other colors because they all have white in common. And then the little green for the leaf. So I'm going to start painting, and when we get to any tips and tricks, we'll pause this little time lapse that we've got going on. I want you to notice that as I'm painting, I'm sometimes painting over some of the lines because, just like I said, when you flip it over, you'll still be able to see those whiskers. So look, lines like this, paint right over because you'll still be able to see that when we flip it around. Alrighty, so now that I have finished all of my little spots with paint, I am going to let it dry for a little bit, and then I am going to make my second coat of paint, because you can see in some areas down here it's not perfectly smooth, but that's okay. That's when we add our second layer, and then it makes it super opaque and one singular nice smooth color. So as you can see, I was not perfect with my lines. At some points I really just slopped the paint on, and because once again all we're going to be seeing in the front is the first layer of marker and then just the color of paint in the background. All right, so let's let this dry. We're gonna add our second layer on off camera, and then I'll show you what the final result is, okay? Okay, so now our Totoro is dry, ready to go. We're going to flip it over and see this is my favorite part, seeing the final result. Okay, let's try and bring it to the edge here so we can get a good grip on it. Okay, and then voila! Our beautiful Totoro and friends. And now you can see what I mean by on the back, it could look a little wonky, your paint can kind of be all over the place. But on the front, because of our beautiful little drawing technique with our Sharpie, you can't even really see all of our little mistakes in the back. So it's really like a no-fault kind of painting. There's no way you can kind of mess this up if you get a good, nice, clean line on the front. And so now you're probably going to have a little bit of paint on the front. So what I suggest doing is doing a little spray, taking a paper towel, just getting all those extra little paint bits off. I got a little bit of white on here from the table, but it should look a little bit something like this. And of course, it's not going to be perfect. You know, some lines might smear from the paint if you push a little bit too hard in areas. But you know what? That gives it a little bit of a uniqueness, you know? You never want anything to be too perfect because then it'll look like it's made from a robot, you know? So this is our final result of our Totoro. All we have to do now is put it back into our frame. So you can see I put a little piece of blue construction paper here to make it our characters pop out a little bit more. Just this frame, you slide it in the front, pop it in there, and there you go. A beautiful painting ready to go for your wall. And if someone comes into your house and they're like, oh, I love Totoro, you could say, thanks, I made it. It's not a poster or merch. I've made that myself. Something you can be proud about to hang in your house. All right, I'm going to be giving this painting today to my little brother Edwin, who you guys all know and love. And all know that he loves Studio Ghibli. So that is going to be it today, unfortunately, but you can join us again next Saturday for more arts and crafts projects, all super fun. I'd love to hear your ideas. Send them to me at aviva@asnerfamilycenter.org. Send me your other creations from past weeks or videos, and make sure to join us on Thursdays for our character drawing classes with me live on our Ed Asner Family Center Facebook and YouTube channel, okay? So, see you next time, guys. Bye!